Hey, Centerville Church, it's Pastor Ellen. As many of you know, today is the National Day of Prayer. It's the day when persons of all faith come together and we pause and we look at our shared life and we lift it up to God. And I know that so many of you in this church and across the country have already been in prayer this day. I know some of you have shared with me that you've been praying for our leaders, that they would have wisdom in this season. You've been praying for teachers and for others whose jobs have changed in the midst of this pandemic. You've been praying for those who've lost their jobs. I know that you have been praying for essential workers and for small businesses and for healthcare professionals. And I've heard you praying for family members and for friends and for strangers that you have never even met before, but you still call neighbor. And even in the midst of all of these personal prayers that we offer up in this time, I know that we're also still praying for the big stuff together. We're still praying for peace in the midst of violence, and we're still praying for God's justice and for dignity for all of God's children. You know, the big stuff and the day-to-day, all of it we take and we lift it up to God. And along with that, of course, we also, bring to God all of the emotion that comes with this. The joy and the anger, the sorrow, the shame, all of it. We bring and we lay it at the feet of God. I know in my own life, it seems like the prayers that I have been offering in this season, they're heavier than they normally are. The things that I'm asking for are big and the unknowns are greater than they usually are. And, at the same time, I've had those of you in the church I've been talking with, you've shared with me that you have found joy in places that you have never looked before, never expected to find before. And you bring that to God in your prayers as well. I know that all of these different prayers that we lift up to God, it's more than just the words that we say, because the prayers that we lift up, they can come in many different forms. Sometimes, prayer does take the form of words. Sometimes we pray with our hands and with our feet, and, sometimes prayer is just a feeling that you can't give voice to, but it's what wells up inside of you when we pause and we turn our attention to the divine. I love how Mary put that type of wordless prayer in the prayer that she prayed in Luke, that famous prayer. She said, "My soul magnifies the Lord." I don't know about you, but I'm not sure how my own soul could magnify the Lord in just words, but I certainly know that feeling in that place of stillness with the Lord. So wherever you are today, I want to invite you into a moment of prayer, into a moment of stillness, where you turn your attention inward and you ask yourself, what is it that I want God to hold this day? And then allow those answers to come in many different forms, through voiceless, wordless feelings, through words, through actions. And I know that this day in particular is the day of prayer, but there's also nothing that says that you can't pray tomorrow or the day after that or the day after that. So I want to invite you, go ahead, find just 5 minutes to stop in your days ahead. Stop moving, stop doing, stop running through the checklist in your mind. Just stop and be present with God. Not only to speak, but to listen and to receive grace anew. Thanks for listening today, and I look forward to joining all of you in live stream worship on Sunday.